Hello, everyone. I'm Rosefear, and I need to talk about Stormblood. I haven't finished it yet. I'm a little more than halfway through, but I need to talk about it because I've been enjoying it so much. But before we get into that, this video will have spoilers in it. So if you don't want things spoiled, please go ahead and click off the video now. You have been warned. And one more thing before we really get into things. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, and you really like to watch these reactions and stuff like that, and just listen to people's thoughts and ideas on Final Fantasy, please go ahead and click subscribe. I've really been enjoying sharing my thoughts and feelings and ideas and stuff like that about the game with everybody. It's been absolutely phenomenal as far as like the community reception and everybody like responding and chatting and stuff in the comments. It's been amazing. I've been really enjoying it. So if you would like to continue seeing this, I post bi-weekly as far as like my reactions and stuff like that to Final Fantasy. I'll be doing that all the way up into the point where hopefully I am able to start completing ultimates and streaming and so on and so forth. But yeah, anyways, jumping right into the video. Stormblood has been amazing. And the first thing that I noticed when I got to Stormblood was obviously like you get off the boat in, I shouldn't say when I got to Stormblood. I should say Kugane, I think is the name of the town. Yeah, Kugane. The first thing I noticed when I got to Kugane was this, the big building when you get off the boat. And it's like, I knew I had seen that before because I had watched somebody streaming Final Fantasy for like 20 minutes at some point. I don't remember who it was. But I'd watched somebody streaming and I saw them doing a jumping puzzle around the side of this building. And I was like, they're having a really rough time with this. They keep falling on what looks like incredibly easy jumps, right? And I was like, I know there's a jumping puzzle there. So I immediately ran right past the quest giver and started trying to find the start to this jumping puzzle. And eventually I found it. And I got started and I was like, oh, this is easy. And I'm going through it, because I've been through like the gold saucer and I've done a whole bunch of like quests and not quests, but a whole bunch of the jumping puzzles there. And those are really fun. So I was like, this is going to be great. I'm going to get to the top, see whatever's up there. I'm sure there's like a quest reward, or not a quest reward, but like an achievement or something. There's got to be something up there. So I start jumping up and it starts out easy and it's fine. And eventually you get to the like halfway point and it's like, okay, each jump has to be like pixel perfect because there's invisible walls all over the place. And if you clip it even a little bit, you just fall straight down. And you have to start all over from like halfway through. And it's so painful. It was one of the most frustrating experiences I've ever had. And I didn't even make it up to the top after like an hour and a half. So I'm just like, I'm done. I'm gonna do bad things. I'm gonna start punching holes in the walls or something. Because I was getting so mad. It was like way worse than like getting over it with Bennett Foddy. Like, it was ridiculous. I don't know why it was so hard because none of the other jumping puzzles in the game are even anywhere near that difficult. So yeah, I'm gonna have to go back to that at some point. I'm going to save it for a live stream though. So I will do that on a live stream at some point. And hopefully I'll have at least two people there to laugh at me. Or laugh with me. It doesn't really matter. So it'll be fun. It'll be fun. Yeah. So one of the first things I noticed though after that, when I started doing the quests and stuff, was obviously like Lolorito was there, which I was really surprised about. Well, he wasn't there, but his like trading company or whatever was there. And yeah, you get taken in by his people. Obviously, you don't trust him because Lolorito. But yeah, like you get taken in by his people and you start doing quests and stuff trying to find Gosetsu and Yugiri. And you don't find them, obviously, but you do find a fish. And this is when I learned that everything small and cute within Final Fantasy is also evil. Because Lalafell, small, cute, evil. Small, cute fish race, also evil. Basically the very first thing they do is betray you, and it has me a little bit worried about Tataru, but we'll talk about that later. Just yeah, so he betrays you and you end up getting a fight in the city, and you're not allowed to get in a fight in the city because they're trying to keep the city as like a neutral ground for people to come trade and make deals and stuff like that. So the samurai start coming after you, and you have to like sneak through the city to get back, and away and escape. And it reminded me so much of a quest from World of Warcraft that I had done at some point. I don't remember when it was. It was at the beginning of one of the expansions. I think it was either BFA or Legion. I don't remember which. And it doesn't really matter too much, but one of two things happened. Either Square took an idea from WoW and put it in their game, which I think is awesome, or WoW developers have been stealing ideas from Final Fantasy, which I find way more likely. Because there's a quest where you have to sneak through Stormwind, and yeah, you end up sneaking through Stormwind, and I don't remember what quest it was and when it happened or whatever, but I know there's a quest where you have to sneak through Stormwind to get away. Um, it had to have been BFA, like Horde side BFA. Yeah, I think it was. So WoW, I'm pretty sure then WoW stole it from Final Fantasy, which, like I said, I'm not really surprised by, because that's just what Blizzard does. They steal ideas from other people. Um, but yeah, so I noticed that there was that quest, and there was a couple others. Like there was the blowgun quest, where you have to shoot some of the um, Imperial guards to like put them to sleep. The Garleans. So you have to put them to sleep while you're questing with Yugiri to like sneak around through some of their encampments and stuff like that. I noticed that was very similar to quests that I had done in Mists of Pandaria in World of Warcraft. Um, so maybe they took the idea from there. I don't know. It doesn't really matter. But I noticed they're almost identical quests happening, and it's like 2 or 3 or 4 times now that I've noticed a quest. It's like I did that in WoW, which I found pretty interesting. But anyways, yeah. So the first thing that I want to talk about is I guess something that the I didn't like too much, and it's mostly just because I saw it coming, and that's Gosetsu's death. And that was because of the build up to it. So he's like this really strong secondary character within the story of Stormblood, and you're spending a lot of time with him, but you don't really learn a whole lot about him. And then all of a sudden, it's like there's like 3 quests where it's like you learn these really deep things about Gosetsu, and then it's like right before the battle to take back Doma, you have this like drunken, I guess, chat with Gosetsu and Hyan, uh, and you learn a little bit more, and like Gosetsu has like this breakdown and apologizes, and Hyan is like, no, you're fine, whatever. And it's like as soon as that happened, I was like, Gosetsu's not gonna live through this battle. I knew. It's like I was like, he's dead, and it kind of killed the emotional like reaction to what happened with him for me, because of that. And I was a little disappointed that it had taken that away, but it is a trope for like anime and stuff like that when they're about to kill a character off that's kind of a secondary character. They build the character up, they do a bunch of like backstory, they get you super attached to the character, and then boom, they kill him, right? And it like has some much like harder impact. But because I've watched too much anime. I don't think I watched that much anime, to be honest, but I guess I've watched too much to the point now where it's like, oh, when I see that, it's like, oh, I know what's happening here. They're gonna kill that character. Um, so it didn't have like the emotional impact that I was, would normally expect from something like that. Even though I loved the character of Gosetsu, uh, the way that he died was super, like really tragic. Like he saved everybody. He caught this thing that should be impossible to hold up. Like it was, talking about it, it's still a little tear jerking, I guess, but it wasn't like as impactful as like other characters that have died. And it's just mostly because I saw it coming. So I didn't like that too much. It was a little too obvious what was kind of going on. Um, but still like really great story. Stormblood so far has been my favorite expansion, and I know a lot of people are going to be like, huh, when they hear that, because from what I've heard from other people is Stormblood is kind of like a a low point. For me, it's like been amazing. And one of my favorite bosses in the entire game so far has been in Stormblood, at least dungeon wise. Uh, I can't say his name. It's like Grinawat or something. Grinawat, Grindwat. I don't know. Whatever. It's like the really stupid, like lumbering brute dude that like follows you around because he just wants to kill you. And he's got like the really rosy cheeks. He looks ridiculous and like the green armor with the spiky hammer. And he always runs away every time you fight him. And then they end up surgically altering him and turning him into like Bane. Uh, and you end up, beating his ass again. But the mechanics of that fight were really fun. I found them to be not challenging, but it was like they were challenging, but I could read them as they were happening. So I went into the fight blind, not knowing what was going to happen, and I could like read what to do based on what was going on the ground and all this other stuff. And I really like that, where it's like I feel like I'm being challenged, but it's still like doable, like easily doable. I shouldn't say easily doable, but it's like the perfect difficulty, I should say. It's like perfect for first time difficulty. Like if I go back and do it again, it'd be like too easy. But like first time through difficulty, that fight was like absolutely perfect. It was right in the sweet spot. And I really love doing fights like that because it leaves like a really strong memory in my mind of like, oh man, that was so fun. I did everything and that was like perfect and it was great. And it was challenging, but it wasn't too difficult. It was perfect for like first fight, first experience going in blind. If I knew it was going to happen beforehand, it wouldn't have been as good, but it was great. Love that fight. Yeah, and then one of the other things I really like is we're getting to learn more about Lise in Stormblood, because from the very beginning, the first time I ever saw Ida, which is also Lise everybody here knows that, but the first time I ever saw Ida, I was like, that character is really cool. She looks cool. I want to know more about that character. And basically, you got nothing through A Realm Reborn. She spent the whole time with Papalimo. You didn't really learn anything from him either. Like, rip Papalimo. But yeah, like you don't really learn a whole lot about her. At the end, you kind of find out that she's Lise and she's not actually Ida, which is kind of a big reveal. But it doesn't explain a whole lot other than she took her sister's identity. And then finally in Stormblood, you learn a little bit more about who she is. You're starting to learn more about Alamigo and her people and her father and who he was and all this stuff. Like, so you're starting to like learn about her character, and I really like her character, even though I've heard from some people that they don't. I don't know why. I really like her character though, so I've been enjoying like learning more about her. Hyen is probably my favorite character in the entire game so far. Just because he's like a really positive, like masculine story or story character, which you don't really get to see a whole lot of in the West. Like basically every character, male character, even if they're strong, is just Homer Simpson, right? Like they're just stupid and yeah. I really like seeing characters like that, and I find them to be really interesting because he's like a really strong, positive, masculine character. Yeah, and he's not Homer Simpson, and that's one of the things I really like about anime as well, because most animes, there is the Homer Simpson characters, but it's not all of them, right? Not everybody's the same, and they project that, and Hyen just feels so real as a character. Like he feels like this is somebody who could have existed, right? It's so well written. It's so impressive, like how well written Hyen's character is. Yeah, I've really enjoyed his character and learning about Doma and all that stuff. And yeah, Yugiri, I don't know. You get to learn a little bit more about her character. You meet her parents and where she's from, and the shinobi and all this stuff. Like it's pretty cool. Her character as well. I've been enjoying learning about her character. I feel like we've learned everything about her character that we're going to, at least in Stormblood. I'm assuming at least, that it'll come back eventually. And then Xenos. Xenos is by far my favorite villain because he's just so evil. Um, and it's like a maniacal evil too. It's not like he's evil because he's trying to do something good and the ends justify the means or anything. It's like, no, this guy's just nasty. And I like that. Like he's unapologetically evil. Um, and a lot of characters in a lot of games, and stories in general, they always have like try to justify why they're evil. It's like some people are just bad, right? Like they don't need to justify why they're evil. And Xenos is that character. He's just nasty, right? And I like characters like that because they feel real, right? Like everything about Stormblood is something that it just feels real. And that's part of the reason why I like the story so much is because it's not that super high fantasy, which I do like a lot, right? But I like it when the story feels super grounded. The story doesn't feel like it's about the Warrior of Light in Stormblood either. It's like the Warrior of Light is there, but it's not about you. The story of Stormblood is more about the world, and I really like that. And that's one of the things I like about like classic WoW is it feels like the story isn't about your character. It feels like it's about the world and everybody's collective experiences, right? And that's something I really like, and I kind of get that feeling from the story from Stormblood, and it makes the game feel so much bigger. Uh, and I really like that. And speaking of the story, like the story specifically of Azim Steppe is my favorite in the entire MSQ so far. Like the whole Yingxia and I'm forgetting the name of like the battle there that they do. Like you learn about like the history of all these different tribes, and each one of them has their own unique like um, like this own unique like deity that they follow, and they worship differently. Like the Maul, they do everything, including like eat based on how their deity tells them, and what to do. Literally every single day is planned by their deity, which is just weird. Then there's the Undying ones, which I'm forgetting the name of, but they believe that the bravest warriors get reborn, and they just live to die basically and live for battle. Then there's the warriors of like I think like the sun or the star or something like that. I forget the name of it. Um, those people are really cool too. Like just the whole, I'm forgetting a whole bunch of stuff, but the whole like they put so much time into just that one zone, and it's a really cool looking zone too. But they put so much time and effort into just the story and building up of the lore of just that one small place. Like it's so deep, uh, and it makes me want to relate it. Like for a little bit, I was tempted to roll my character, like use my Fantasia and play an Aura or whatever. And I keep thinking like, oh man, I've got this Fantasia in my bag, so I should use it, but I didn't. I'm still playing the Cat Girl, staying true to the Cat Girl. But I was tempted for a moment to play one of those characters because it was just like, man, that these people are so cool. Like I understand now. Like they were cool before, like cool looking. And I was like, man, playing one of them would be kind of cool. But now seeing like the lore and the history behind that area, I know not all of them come from there, but that area specifically just blew me away because it was so deep. Like it was incredible. Like that the amount of story there is like the amount of story in an entire WoW expansion, right? Like that's the level of like quality there. Although the WoW stories are usually terrible, but um, it was just I was so blown away, and it felt so good to go through there, win the fight, um, earn their respect, sort of. They fight with you to take back Doma. Like you set up, like it was so good. It was perfect, right? It was perfect. It couldn't have been better. Um, yeah, and that's basically all I have to say. Currently, I'm at the point in I just finished taking back Doma, and gone back to Alamigo, and we took the bridge. Right, I just captured the bridge. So for those of you who know the story, that's where I'm at. I just finished that quest when I'm recording this video. So yeah, I wanted to talk about this. I'm gonna get like a full like breakdown of like what I think and stuff like that going forward once I finish the story. But those are basically like my favorite moments in the story so far, and I'm just totally blown away by the quality of it. It's just unbelievable. So yeah, if you're still here, please drop a like, subscribe, and I will see you in the next one.